describe to me how someone should approach tasting a beer to make the most out of it.
Try and go in unbiased. Recognize how you are coming into the situation first. If you're in a bad mood, you're more likely to not like that beer. If you're in a good mood, well, that's what you should go into it with, because you're tasting a beer. But in general, you just want to evaluate the way it looks, color, clarity. Color, clarity, not so much. That's so with
juicy.
New England with New England IPAs, the intent is not to be clear, so not clear. So anyway, that's part of the evaluation. I mean, you want to have a beer that looks like it's going to taste good, and then you go in. If you've got a good glass for it, like I have here. You can kind of swirl it around, bring out the aromas.
Right?
Make sure you stick out your pinky. But you should focus on each sense that you're trying to accomplish tasting with. So you want to get an aroma from the beer before you taste it, because that's a large part of your taste sense, is your sense of smell. Yes.
Smelling something. It's good.
And then you want to let it flow across your whole tongue. There used to be a tasting diagram out there of the tongue where it had bitterness on the sides and other places in different locations on your tongue, but that has since been debunked. It turns out that there are flavor sensors for every type of flavor just dispersed all over your tongue. So you want to let it cover your tongue and just try and focus on your tongue and try and get a good waft of aroma just as you're bringing it up, just before you taste, because it'll all meld together into your whole taste experience. And then I personally find it's helpful to do a slow inhale afterwards, because just that can bring out some more of the complex notes in the beer that you're tasting.
Do you get different tastes and flavors like at the beginning of a sip versus kind of on the back end too?
Yeah,
something you should look for?
We'll describe even in some of our written descriptions for the beers here, we describe the start and the finish. Because you could have a beer that's bitter up front, but fruity at the end. So that's part of the complexity of beer that I love. Is having a beer where you taste it and then your senses are just bouncing all over while you're having that one sip.
Right.
Makes you want more.
Yeah.
Or even, and that's why I'm not always a huge fan of tasters, because the beer changes as it warms. Most beers, at least. So drinking a full pint, it starts out, we serve our beers at 38 degrees here to come out. By the time you're finishing this pint, it's at 45, maybe even 50. And
you need to drink faster.
Yeah, it depends on how fast you drink it. but like a great example is our Dark Intent. I think the flavors change in our porter like crazy. They go from being super chocolatey and roasty to kind of that little bit of pipe tobacco aroma, smell that I think comes out as it warms. I don't think it's there when it's under 40 degrees.
Plus, your nose and your tongue both shut off flavors after they've tasted them a while. So your IPA is not going to taste as bitter on the last sip as it did on the first sip.
Gotcha.
Because your senses have been acclimated to it. And so that may be part of the as it warms too. It may be that's going along with it as you taste.
Yeah.
Your sensations, your senses are picking up different things than they did in the beginning.
And kind of to elaborate on how an IPA is going to shut off certain flavors and certain tastes in your senses. That's why we typically, if you're going to drink more than one beer, you should drink them lighter flavors to stronger flavors.
And not so hoppy to hoppy.
So it kind of wipes out your palate?
Yeah, because it'll change how you're going to taste it.
If you try to drink this pale ale after you drink the Urban Lumberjack, you're not going to, the hops, you're going to be like, this has no hop character. Just because that has a lot of hop character.
Right.
This is definitely a more subtle drinkable beer, so you just wouldn't want to drink them
So
IPA
we
to pale,
set up
not
our
a pale
tasting
IPA.
board in the order that we recommend. Of course, it's different for everybody, but and there's some crossover, you know, because we generally light to dark and hoppy to not so hoppy, but there's crossover there, and then there's fruit beers, and then there's, well, how do you stack a Belgian against an American of whatever variety, you know, that kind of thing. So we have our recommendations, and we'll usually serve our tasters, our flights in that order. But I mean, it comes down to, again, personal perception.
And preference. Yeah.
Cool. Cheers, guys. Thanks.